Well, that's pretty cool. I can screen mirror my iPad to my bedroom TV. I didn't know I could do that. It's pretty awesome. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of Triple F Ranch. So this is a video I wanted to bring light to. Yesterday, me and Shane had rented an airplane, 53237, which is the one I normally fly when go do VFR flights and not doing my instrument rating. I usually fly 2135 kilo for my instrument rating. So yesterday we got to the airport about 8 a.m. and everything was fine. Through the week, I always pay attention to the weather just to make sure I don't waste any time driving over to the Columbus airport, because it's like a half an hour from my house. I'm still a low-time pilot. I think I've got around 70 hours in an airplane, about 8 hours of instrument training. So what I was really wanting to do in this video is kind of go over what happened yesterday and just all the events leading up to my decision to not fly that day after we were holding short at 2-3. There was just a lot of things that were going on that could have led to an NTSB report, and I want to thank Jason Shapert a lot. Jason, if you're watching this video, thank you so much for you and Magda putting out the video of the story about going to the Miami boat show, and just all the things that led up to Magda telling you to practice what you preach and just not go, because there's a lot of things adding up. And you know, kind of the same thing happened to me yesterday, and your video along with FOREFLIGHT may have potentially saved our lives yesterday. And I'm not doing this for clickbait. This is really how I feel. So yesterday we got to the airport, everything was going just fine. Get out to the airplane, and I know nobody flew that airplane that morning before we got there, because it wasn't grayed out on the schedule on Flight Schedule Pro. I get in the cockpit and do, turn on all the lights and everything for the pre-flight inspection, and notice it's got a half a tank of fuel in it. So good practice is the night before, or right after a flight and before the airplane, if the airplane's going to sit all night, it is good practice to put a full tank of fuel back in it. The reason why is because it eliminates the air that is in the tank. If there is air in the tank, that just leaves room for moisture buildup, and then you get water in the fuel. So that was the first thing yesterday. Second thing was, doing the YouTube videos. I have 2 GoPros and getting everything set up in the cockpit, and the GoPros didn't stick. The adhesive that I used was not sticking to anything in the airplane. I was gonna put it, I think, between our heads, right on the center part of the cockpit, above our heads, and it just wasn't sticking. Put it on the dash, where, if you guys have watched my videos before, where it shows, my face and the passenger's face, and that's kind of how we interact. It wasn't sticking to the dash either. So I was already getting irritated about that, because I've never had that issue before. During my private pilot training, I had trained in an airplane that was carbureted, and the airplanes that I fly now are fuel injected. So there's no primer, no carb heat, there's no fuel pump. Well, I think Sierra Kilo may have had a fuel pump in it. 53237 and 2135 kilo is pretty difficult to start. It's not the airplane. I know it's 100% me. I just got to get with TJ on the correct protocols for starting that airplane properly. Of course, there's a checklist there that shows you, but every time I hold the auxiliary fuel pump on for 3 seconds, it always floods the airplane. And yesterday, finally got the airplane to turn over and fire, and it ran for about 5 seconds and died. Finally got the airplane started. And there was a note amount previously on my flights that the AWOS at Columbus was out until, I think it was like July 23rd or something like that. I don't even know I think it was the 23rd. So yesterday was probably the first day it had gotten fixed. So right now I'm going to go ahead and play the clip and let you guys listen to the AWOS from Columbus. And there was some things in there that was a little bit concerning.
Columbus Municipal Airport. Automated weather observation. 1253. Zulu weather. Wind 19er. 0 at 6. Visibility 7. Clear below 12,000. Temperature 24 Celsius. Dew point 22. Altimeter 3003. Remarks. Density altitude 1,700.
So a METAR only goes up to 10 statute mile visibility. So if it's 15 statute mile visibility, the METAR is only going to say 10. It goes to a max of 10. It can be either 10 or anything in between 10 and unlimited. So yesterday you guys heard that it had 7 statute mile visibility, and another video that I watched from Jason, he was talking about 6 statute mile visibility, and he's like, you guys don't understand what actually 6 statute mile visibility looks like. So I was pretty concerned when it said 7. It's 7 statute mile visibility. I mean, it may sound like a lot, but I can only imagine what 7 actually looks like. It's probably not great visibility. It's normally unlimited when I go fly. So that was another thing that was concerning. So this gets into the point to where the money that I spent, or any of us spend on the iPad, or safety equipment in the aviation industry, becomes priceless. We are taxiing on Alpha, I believe. We crossed 14 and then continued on to taxi Alpha to runway 23 and hold short. At that point, I knew that there was another airplane in the traffic pattern turning left base, and tower asked us to hold short. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to take this time. There was something inside of me that just was like, check the weather on FOREFLIGHT. So with the AWOS being in Columbus, we're right here. So with the AWOS, the weather, so as of right now, I'm kind of painting a picture in your guys' head. We're holding short of 2-3, and with it being 7 statute mile visibility through the AWOS, it would already throw up a red flag to me. So I come down here to the METAR. Now, I don't know if I can do any type of writing on this, but I don't think so. So I'm just gonna, I might be able to if I can figure it out here. Yeah, it doesn't look like it actually. So if you look here, this is the METAR for Kilo Bravo Alpha Kilo, which is the Columbus airport, and it says METAR Kilo Bravo Alpha Kilo, the 24th at 16:45 Zulu. Winds are 20016, gusting to 20, 10 statute mile visibility, clear. Don't know my METARs super well. Don't know what the 30 and the 22 is, but the A is the altimeter, 29er and 9er. So coming down to the time, which is not something I normally pay attention to, just because the FOREFLIGHT app updates pretty quick. Usually, like right now, it's 16 minutes ago, and then I cross-reference the AWOS with this. So as we're coming down, the winds were, just fine. I think it was like 190 at 7. And then the visibility, this is where it was really, really concerning to me. It said 3 statute mile visibility. Clouds, I think it showed mist in red, and then the visibility was in red as well, and then the humidity, density, altitude, none of that at that point was really as concerning as what the visibility in the clouds were. So there was another red flag to me. So I came over here to the daily, clicked on, we're just going to use it as an example, clicked on the daily, and it would have showed Saturday. Clicked on Saturday, and at 10 o'clock a.m., this is really nice. So it shows hour by hour, all your winds and your minimal VFR, the ceilings and everything. And it showed at 10 o'clock it was going to be an 800-foot ceiling in IFR conditions. And I'm like, okay, the weather on everything else was perfectly fine, but this was really concerning to me. So at that point, I came back and went up here, turned on the composite radar, and this is actually showing our current, which is actually pretty close to what it was yesterday. All the way around here, and that's kind of about the layout of it. It's kind of how the storms were laid out yesterday. This whole area right here was it was green around this area, and then straight through here was completely red, and it was kind of coming this direction. It was kind of weird because even in the dailies, hour by hour forecast, it wasn't even showing anything that it was going to be coming this way, or you know, at like 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, it didn't show anything. But these storms were moving. Okay, that shut off. These storms were moving this way. So long story short, the storms ended up moving more east than it was south. So yesterday, I think things would have been okay. More than likely it would have probably been okay, but you cannot run aviation safety off of probabilities alone. Just, you know, it was really hard for me to say no, and especially with Shane. He lives a half an hour from me, and then it's another half an hour drive over to Columbus, and I really feel like I wasted his time, but you know, you have to do that in order to stay safe. I was going to go flying yesterday evening, and just there was something that was just very, very heavy on me yesterday. Don't know what it was. There was just something that wasn't right yesterday, and I ended up not going flying at all. I don't know if it's just subconsciously. 53237 is 5.5 hours away from its 100-hour inspection. It's 7 hours away from its oil change. And there's a couple other things. The fuel injector lines. I think there was a AD out for that, and there was something else. Maybe the brakes on it. There was an AD out for both of those things there, so those were going to have to be changed. And just it was a decision that I had to make, and I really wanted to go fly yesterday evening and do some slips to no flap landings, and I hope this video really shed some light on some aeronautical decision making for some people. I don't necessarily want to say it was hard to say no yesterday, because I know that I'm going to be able to go fly again eventually, but there just wasn't something right about yesterday. That pretty much wraps up the video. You guys are awesome, and we'll see you again on Triple F Ranch.